Hey everyone, and welcome back to Go Global 2021 Day 3. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon from wherever you're watching. We are on day 3. Last 2 days have been really intense. They have been information packed. So many things that I'm sure that is very important for you to know before you start selling in other marketplaces as well. We're covering EU and UK today, one of the biggest marketplaces right after USA. And this is a very interesting session because it is lady powered. I have three amazing women right here who are going to be talking about everything that you need to know before you start selling in EU and UK. So as I understand, there have been some confusions in the past, especially last year with Brexit come in. UK and EU are like different marketplaces now, and there's so many things that you need to understand before you start selling there. If you're already a seller in EU and UK, let us know in the comment section below, and let us know where you're watching from as well. So we've had so many attendees from like so many different countries, and I would love to understand where you guys are from. So let us know in the comment section below. All right, so I am going to be talking about how the session is going to look like. First, I'm going to introduce all my speakers, and then we are going to have presentations by them on specific topics, A to Z, everything that you need to know before you start selling. And then towards the end, we are going to take your questions. So leave all your questions in the comment section below, and we will answer them towards the end of the session. I did not introduce myself. Hi, I'm Ria Mittal, and I work as a product evangelist at SellerApp. And we have three amazing ladies who are going to be talking about A to Z of selling in Amazon, EU, and UK. So let me introduce our first speaker for today. Her name is Anna Davidson. So Anna, I'm putting you on the screen right now. Hey.
Hi. Good to be here. How are you?
I'm good. So Anna, could you introduce yourself and talk about what you'll be covering today in the session?
So yeah, I'm Anna Davidson. I've been an Amazon seller actually since 2013. Seems like a long time ago now. And I also run a coaching program, so I have students. I've taught over 2,000 students globally. I'm based in the UK, as you might be able to tell from my accent. So I love the UK and EU marketplace, and I'm going to be sharing the opportunity right now selling in the UK and EU, and also maybe the factors to kind of consider in selling in those marketplaces, and also covering a little bit about Amazon PPC, just maybe some things to watch out for as regards to Brexit and taxes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really excited to be sharing my knowledge with you all.
I'm super excited for the session as well and hearing you speak. So Anna is going to be joining us for future sessions as well. And she's like filled with information, filled with knowledge when it comes to EU and UK. So I'm really excited for you to be here. Anna, thank you. So I'm going to introduce the next speaker, put you in the studio for a while. Yeah. Okay, so our next speaker is Jana, and she will be covering listing translations, which is so important. So let me get her on the stage right now. Hi, Anna. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited. I'm always up for a really cool speaking gig, which is this one. And I really hope that I can bring some content and value to your webinar.
Thank you. So could you introduce yourself and talk about things that you'll be covering today?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Jana, and I'm the owner of Wild Tea Translations. We are the leading Amazon dedicated translation agency, and we've helped, I think, more than like 4,000 sellers so far. Today, I will be covering a little bit about localization, which is very important when expanding to international marketplaces. Some of the mistakes that people make, which could be, which could be avoided very easily. And so just some overall information about European marketplaces, differences in style, and basically what you should watch out for. And most importantly, everything that I'll be sharing today is something that you can apply to your business yourself. You don't have to hire any other specialized agency. You can basically cover everything on your own. I mean, except like native translators, but I guess you can also find that by yourself. That's it.
Yeah, amazing. And we actually had a question for you yesterday. So yesterday we had a session with Nitin and Bridge from SellerApp, and we had a question that asked us, like there was a person who was expanding or planning to sell in EU and UK, and they were asking me how they can optimize the listing. I just told them like, hey, be here. I hope you're here today. Whoever that was yesterday.
Amazing.
Yeah. So thank you for being here, Yana. I'm going to introduce Yael now. I'm going to put you in the studio for a while.
Thank you.
Okay, so of course, when you talk about selling in different marketplaces, legalities takes over all because you can do your listings properly, you can do your PPC very well, and you can be filled with information. But if you get blocked from that marketplace, it can get very expensive for you very fast. That's why we have Yael with us today. She was there in our first day as well. So let me introduce her and get her on the stage. Hi, Yael.
Hi. Hello. Hi, everybody. Nice,
Welcome
nice
back
to be
to Go
here.
Global.
Thank you.
Yeah, so could you
Um,
introduce yourself and talk about things that you'll be covering today?
Sure. So I'm the owner of Cabilly and Co. We're a law firm that helps sellers all over the world, including in Europe. We've represented and helped probably around 5,000 sellers over the years, and we specialize originally in intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, patents. So today we're going to talk about what I call complications of Europe, things that are different in Europe when you compare it to other marketplaces like the US. And then we are going to talk about intellectual property in those marketplaces.
Amazing. And it's always a pleasure and it's always a treat listening to you. I'm really excited about patents. I personally love patents myself. I think it's something that everyone should have if you're planning to get a serious business going. So thank you for being here, Yale. And I'm going to put you in the studio for a while.
Thank you.
All right. So to begin our session, we are going to be having a conversation about why do you need to start selling in EU and UK. So of course, if you are an Amazon seller and if you want to expand on different marketplaces, that's why we have created the event Go Global that will help you to expand in different marketplaces. And as an Amazon seller, I always tell this to everyone who's selling on Amazon. I think it's your duty to grow on the platform. So there's so many more opportunities for you in EU, UK. We have Australia tomorrow, and USA was the first session we covered. So, yes, I'm going to invite all my speakers up right now and let's have a conversation on why you need to start selling in EU and UK, starting with Anna. Hi, Anna. We have Jana, and then we have Yale. Again, I just love seeing all the women on the screen right now. This is giving me so much power. So, yeah, who runs the world?
Girl.
Right. So, starting with Yana, why do you think we need to start selling in EU and UK? What do you think are the plus points of this marketplace?
Well, I just think that, considering that from last year, let's say for like April and May, we got over 40% more inquiries in expanding to international marketplaces. Sellers are finally seeing the opportunity that these marketplaces are bringing. And we're even working with some of the really big US brands that have never thought of expanding to international marketplaces before COVID. So I see that a lot of sellers, they see an opportunity because they don't have that many competitors out there. I know a lot of sellers have never even thought about going to international marketplaces and never even checking like how many competitors you have in Germany or France and some other marketplaces that I'll later be talking about. And just see that the people see that they could actually grasp the full potential of the marketplace and increase their revenue, maybe easier than they could in the States. The whole point with the States is I don't think the market is saturated. I just think it's more difficult now than ever to sell in the US marketplace, and a lot of restrictions that are that are happening on the US marketplace, they do not apply in Europe. Like for instance, like you can still have caps lock in your bullets and still, you don't have to get your listing taken down, whereas like in the States you are not allowed to do that. So a lot of things that are restricted in the States are still not restricted in Europe, and maybe will not even going to be. And definitely less competitor is something which is very attractive for a lot of sellers. And we have a lot of sellers that like they even exceeded the revenue from the States by going to Europe and other worldwide marketplaces. So I definitely think it's the right time to go to international marketplace. Like ever since March, April last year, like it's been like super trending like this.
That's amazing because I remember having a conversation sometime last year with one of our sellers who sell in US, I mean in UK, and she sells greeting cards. So she told me that when the whole COVID situation happened and pandemic came over us, she was really shocked to see that there was a behavioral change where people were reluctant to sell on Amazon because they did not want to take business away from brick and mortar stores. However, it's like the complete opposite that's happening in UK right now because I think they have realized that Amazon is a place that gives a chance, gives an option for small sellers, brick and mortar stores, family owned businesses which are running low on business to start selling on Amazon. So, yeah, I'm glad to see that behavioral change. And yes, as Yana mentioned, the sales have been incredible for EU and UK. So, coming to you, Anna, what do you think about the change that's happening in the behavior of consumers? And what do you think of EU and UK as a marketplace a whole?
So I think Jana has really done a good job on summarising all of that. Really, I was trying to think as she was talking. What am I going to say? So thanks, Jana. I do think, I think the additional thing is that now that we have the Netherlands and Sweden and Poland, Amazon can obviously see how they're going to expand into more geographies within Europe. So I really feel that, I mean, we've had a crazy year, haven't we? Germany and UK have always been like the biggest marketplaces in the kind of EU, even though the UK is not part of the EU anymore. But we're seeing kind of traction in these smaller places. So even like Italy and Spain, because I think we've been forced, haven't we, as a global population to have to shop online. And of course, Amazon, with its focus on customer service, is always going to be leading the way in it. So I think the fact that Poland and Sweden and Netherlands are now on the horizon just shows that we're going to be having more and more places throughout Europe expanding.
That's amazing. And it's the opportunity to sell in new marketplaces when you know that you have an unexplored market. I mean, that gets me on my feet. Like, I need to explore that market. I need to see if my product can sell there. So, yes, I get really excited when there's a new marketplace in sight that I haven't explored. And I'm sure that I'm going to get to learn a lot from you all today. So, Yale, what according to you is the one most important point that people need to remember before they start selling in EU and UK?
Yeah, so first of all, I agree that Jana and Anna have done a good job summarizing what's good there. I think that to answer the question, I always think of my two hats, the exit part and the legal part. And when I think of the legal part, there are actually so many complications in Europe. There are things that are more difficult in Europe. The VAT that you have to handle. These are actually good. I mean, once you've passed this obstacle, you're in, and others are not. So I'm always speaking with sellers, and they tell me how they're looking for specific niches that are more difficult. Or I have clients that are looking for products with patents so that they can go around the patent, and then they're the only one there. So Europe is a good example where the bad can be good. And when it comes to exit as well, I mean, on the other side, if you're not there, your buyer is gonna take the brand there and sell in Europe. But if you are there, your profits will be higher. I mean, we're seeing, especially in the toys industry, cosmetic, we're seeing a lot of brands going to Europe, and then their profit goes up by 25 and sometimes 50%, and in some cases you even see Europe higher than the US. So I think today European market, the marketplaces are the next thing for for most of the US sellers. Sometimes there's so much to do in the US you don't get to that. But most of them, after a while, understand that they need to be in the US. They just have to go through these obstacles.
That was very well said, Yael. So, for those of you watching right now, let me know where you're watching from in the comment section below. And I see that we have a lot of highs. So, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And that was very well answered, ladies. I think I am so pumped up for the session. I just want to absorb all the information that you give me. Also, for those of you watching right now, make sure that you are registered for the session because towards the end of the event, we do give out a goodie bag with all the presentations in it and a comparison charts, important dates for you to remember, and so much more that you really need as an Amazon seller. So that goodie bag is all you need with exciting discounts as well from our partners, Payoneer, Noviland, and SellerLogic. So make sure that you are registered for the event to get access to the goodie bag. All right. So thank you for being here again. And let's start with presentation. So Anna, you're first. Let's learn about the basics of UK marketplaces and EU marketplaces.
Brilliant. Let me share my screen.
Okay, I see a screen, and I'm going to be putting that on the screen right now. And we are on.
Brilliant. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to give you an overview really of the Amazon UK and EU marketplaces to really start getting you excited. So here we go. I know I introduced myself earlier. As I say, I've been selling on the Amazon marketplace since 2013. I've got a few slides here about me, so I'm going to quickly go over them. One of my kind of highlights really was being featured in Forbes in the middle of the pandemic last year. And I've sold multiple successful brands on across all the different geographies. Started in the US marketplace, and as Yael was just saying earlier, I think people are leaving money on the table by not expanding into the UK and EU marketplaces. So let me go through what we're going to cover. So why you should start selling in the UK and EU, how difficult it is to penetrate the UK and EU. I'm going to kind of do a snapshot on Amazon PPC advertising with what's available and what's not, and also how to adapt your brand in these different marketplaces. So why start selling? We kind of all gave our thoughts there, didn't we, with Jana and Yael talking about why we think you guys should expand into the UK and EU. So very interestingly, you know, these higher sort of penetration rates into the EU market are here to stay. And I touched on the fact that we've now got Netherlands, Sweden and Poland, and Amazon market share is growing. And I can predict that there's going to be even more geographies within EU growing over this year and next. Germany, everyone's always surprised by this, but Germany is the second largest marketplace globally. And last year it grew over 30% in 2020. So it grew by a third. The population size you can see here is just over 80 million. And this was a snapshot, not referencing solely Amazon, but just it was looking at the percentage of population who bought something online last year. And nearly 80% of the German market, or the Germans, bought products online. And you can see here that the top 3 shopping sites, Amazon is in there. So it's Amazon first, followed by eBay, and then Otto. So I know a lot of people are surprised at that. They always think that UK is probably bigger than Germany, but actually Germany is leading the way. But UK smashed it last year. We doubled as a marketplace. Our population size is a little bit smaller, and you can see here that 87% of people were buying products online. And again, Amazon was one of the top 3 sites by traffic. And I don't think this is surprising, but you know, some of you might be shocked by this data. So Amazon was first, then eBay, and then Argos. And then the third biggest marketplace sort of in the EU and UK is France. Population size, you can see 65. And again, 70% of people were buying products online. And the top 3 shopping sites were Amazon first, Cdiscount, and then eBay. So the opportunity, I mean, there's 300 million roughly population across the whole of Europe. So you kind of, I mean, I know that we all kind of think of the US, it is the biggest, but actually if you add up all of these different countries inside the EU, we're not that much far behind in population size. So there's a real opportunity by just not going there, you know, by actually launching products across the UK and Europe. And Germany is leading the way. But of course, we're catching Germany up with the percentage of increase over this last 12 months. And I don't think it's a surprise as regards with what happened in this last year. But I do feel that, you know, if you are kind of ignoring the EU, you are leaving a massive opportunity by not sort of like seizing and launching products in these marketplaces. So let's talk about how difficult, though, it is to penetrate UK and EU. And we kind of touched on it in our intro, because the UK and the EU are not as saturated as the US market. So they're less saturated. But with what's happened this last year, you need to get in there quick, because, you know, in 2020, we saw higher penetration rates with different products and brands. So there is less competition right now. But I think, I predict that, you know, we're going to catch up to the US marketplace. But, you know, if you are thinking, maybe you've already launched in the US market and you're having challenges with the competition, and it's, you know, you'll find it difficult to really penetrate your brand there. I think you'll find it a lot easier in the UK and EU, because there is this less competition and less saturation in certain markets as well. But there's a few things that you need to be aware of that we'll come to, and I know that Yael and Jana are also going to discuss some points as well. So I think there's a perception with the different languages that it's more difficult than it is. And Amazon PPC advertising as well. So Amazon PPC is available across the 5 countries. It's not available in some of the newer countries as yet. So you've got the main ones being UK and Germany, which has got significantly more demand for the reasons I've just explained, because they're bigger markets. But Italy, Spain and France might have lower volume, but there was a large growth in 2020. And I saw that happening just generally, because Italy and Spain have tended to be a little bit smaller, but I have had some really good sales. I think out of sponsored products and sponsored brands and sponsored display ads, sponsored products is probably the biggest way to go, because you're going to get kind of more impressions, and it's just going to be easier for you to have some kind of impact and be able to see kind of results, really. So my advice for, if you're new to starting in these marketplaces, just focus on the sponsored products at the beginning and then start looking at sponsored brands, because I think you'll have some kind of bigger return on investments, really. And I know Jana will be covering this. Keyword research is vital in different languages, and you've got to really make sure that you're not just doing, you know, Google Translate to get some of these keywords. You've got to get the right keywords. There's different cultures, so you really need to make sure that you're using these, you know, specific keywords that your customers are going to be using within the PPC advertising you're doing. So that's probably the most challenging part, is making sure that you've got the right keyword research in the right languages. So let's finally look at how to adapt your brand in the UK and EU, because it's not just a case of launching that same product in a different marketplace. You've got a few things to consider. So the first thing is having a look to see whether your product is actually appropriate to sell in that new market. And by what I mean by that is actually looking at the demand, because you might find that actually, you know, yoga mats is absolutely saturated in the US, and yoga mats are not appropriate for Germany, say. I mean, I'm giving that as an example, and obviously we know that that's not the case, but you've got to really kind of dig deep and have a look at the demand of your specific brands, niches, products, and look at the competition as well in that particular market to see whether there's going to be enough sales for that product that you're going to launch. So have a look at that market and have a look at the demand. But you also need to look at some of these things as well. I mentioned it before, we've talking about keywords, is the different cultures. And I know, Jana, you'll probably be covering some of this as regards to like the differences between like the German culture and the US. Because there's all these different factors matter with the products that you're launching. There's also climate as well. You know, in Spain and Italy, there's kind of like a warmer climate. There's demographics, different age groups. We're all different cultures, aren't we? We've got to do that research whether our products are going to be appropriate. But the main one in here is product standards. And I know, Yael, I'm sure you'll be covering some of this as regards to IP and stuff like that. But, you know, you may have certain products that there's different laws, and there's also different electrical kind of requirements. So here, for an example, in the UK, we use a 3-prong charger. In the rest of the EU, you have a 2-prong one. So you've got to remember these things, because you can't just launch the same product across the UK and the EU. So product standards, have a look at things like the CE approval, and IP rights, product safety as well. Making sure that, you know, it's environmentally health and product compliant as well, because the laws are slightly different in the EU to the US. Making sure that you've got the right marking and labels on your products. And again, for example, the CE is the conformance mark that's needed on medical devices, toys, and personal protective equipment and so on. So there's some slight different regulations that you need to make sure that your products are conforming to. So it's about doing your research, really, and making sure that if you are launching your products, that you're launching the right products. And if your product has got that potential, that you're also making sure you've got the right product safety and marking and labels on those products and other packaging. The other final thing is, we've heard a lot about Brexit. And so it's really important to get a good accountant. And, you know, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not a tax advisor. But the changes that have happened is that we all need to be VAT registered whereas before we could sell across UK and the whole of Europe, we now have this separation. So if you are selling in the UK, you need to be VAT registered. And if you're selling in the rest of Europe, you need to be VAT registered as well. And there's also different tariffs as well. If you're importing goods, you need to make sure you've got your ERI number, which is to get those tax tariffs and make sure that you're being compliant. So make sure that you get that advice off your accountant, because wherever your company is based, it is slightly different. So you've got to make sure that you get that information as well. Now, the way I see it is, a lot of people think, oh, this is complicated, you know, there could be different regulations with the products, there's all these different taxes, and people just don't decide they're not going to sell in the EU because of all these reasons. But I see challenges as a real opportunity, and everybody has the same challenges. You know, everybody's got the same taxes to pay, everybody's got the same labels to be compliant with. So see it as an opportunity, because I think a lot of people, the people who are, or the sellers that are here for quick wins, will be put off by all of these things. Whereas if you're growing a brand long term, then don't be put off by it, because it's like education is power, isn't it? Once you know all of this information, you can launch your brands and really, really grow in these marketplaces. And we've seen this over this last year, such huge increases in the UK and Germany especially, and with the fact that, you know, all of these new different geographies are opening up. So I believe there's a real opportunity in the UK and EU, and I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you may have. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much for that presentation, Anna. I think it was really insightful. So I see that there is a question for you, we will be taking towards the end of the session. So yes, Anna, just one more question for you. How are the category trends in UK or EU right now? Because in America, we have seen a huge growth in home and kitchen, electrical appliances such as ring lights and home office items. So is it similar in UK, or could you talk a little bit more about category trends or product trends in UK or EU?
Yeah, I do think it is similar. I think all products that are based at home, we've seen a massive increase in kind of office type gadgets, you know, home office things. I was selling a desk, a foldable desk that was literally flying. I've run out of stock now. But the products that are based around the home and garden, obviously in the UK we don't have a particularly great climate, so maybe we tend to get a rush on in the summer where we need stuff. But beauty products as well, I've seen from, you know, I've sold some beauty products myself, but I've just seen from other people, and especially sports and fitness as well, because across Europe we've had very, you know, big lockdowns where gyms have closed and things like that. So a lot of home gym type equipment, like the yoga mats, like any kind of little gadgets that you can use, you know, for your home gym. So I think anything based around the home, electrical items around that, beauty products, anything that's been essential really. So it's probably very similar, because having students also sell in the US and having sold there myself, I think we're seeing similar trends.
Amazing. So, yeah, that was really insightful. And thank you for answering my question. So, we are going to be moving on with Yana. I'm going to put you in the studio and we will bring you back right up towards the end of the session where we take up questions from the audience. So, thank you for being here, Anna.
No problem.
All right. So, breaking up Yana, we are going to be talking about listing optimization for EU and UK, which is really important because you can go to Google and translate your listings, but believe me, that is a disaster waiting to happen. So, let me call Yana on the screen right now, and then she can talk more about listing optimization and finding keywords for Europe and UK marketplaces. So, hi, welcome back, Yana. Oh, wait, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Oh, yes, sorry.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I
let's
have a couple of extra slides, so I'll just try to be as fast as possible and provide the best content without some other stuff that Anna has already covered. Okay, so let's start by me sharing the screen.
Yep. I see
Okay.
it. Okay. Perfect. You're presenting now.
Okay, cool. So the topic of my talk is a listing optimization all around European marketplaces. And as Anna has already mentioned, we have a lot of new marketplaces, and this is something which is really, great that happened last year. After so many years without having any other European marketplaces being popped up on Amazon's map. I was really happy to see, that basically 3 marketplaces were out during 1 year. I already presented myself. As I said, we're wealthy translations, and we offer international marketplace localization, keyword research, basically everything you need to get covered content-wise and keyword-wise on a new marketplace. And we've built a team of 60 team members in less than 2 years. And I'm really excited about what 2021 has in store for us as well. So I just wanted to cover a little bit of what happened in 2020 and why we're seeing such an increase on international marketplaces. I know Anna talked about this, so I'm not gonna talk the same as she did. But I just wanted to say that, there was like an increase of over 40% of people who want to go to international marketplaces, and more people are expanding to new channels and new marketplaces in new countries. And the whole point in 2020 was that you needed to adapt in order to overcome the whole shock that happened in the world in March and April. A lot of people were very, scared. They didn't want to pursue their Amazon, careers and products and everything. But actually, the ones who could pivot, which I think it's like the word of 2020, they were able to manage, and they were, they could quickly, very easily pivot their marketing and message and their energy and everything to the clients, which I think was very important. In 2020, Amazon Netherlands finally enrolled the PPC, and Amazon Sweden was introduced. So I'll talk about this a little bit later. And also, like, we've seen an increase in e-commerces around Europe. So Spain and Italy had an increase in 14% and 30.5% for Spain, which is amazing, because like earlier when people would usually expand to Europe, it would usually be like UK and Germany, and then maybe if you don't have the right product for, let's say, France or Spain, you will go there as well. But not a lot of people wanted to do the whole pan-EU 4 or 5 countries expansion before COVID. But now, like, the whole e-commerce has grown for 14%, which means that a lot of people have changed their habits, and a lot of people in Spain and Italy have started shopping more and more online, which is why when now we have clients, they want to definitely expand to Spain and Italy. When we compare this to, let's say, last year or 2 years ago, we have seen like such an exponential growth in interest of sellers to sell in these 2 countries. So in 2021, what I think is very important, what people probably don't know or don't pay much attention to, a lot of sellers have their own websites, and you really want to make your the website responsive because Google is going to make big changes in May. And if you don't get your website to responsive according to the criteria of Google, you're not going to be indexed at Google at all. So this is something serious which is happening, and they haven't done this a couple of years now, but they're making big changes. So make sure that you are in sync with the Google algorithm. I know, for instance, like my website is not, because their like criteria is like crazy high, but we're working on it. So pay attention to that. If you have a website, you should definitely check what are the changes that are going to be made in May. Also, of course, the environmentally friendly products are going to be more and more important. And like there was like this I think there was like this Vox Populi, in China that said that 67% of people would likely purchase the products that are eco-friendly and from an eco-friendly company than others. I know that in Sweden that they're banning the use of plastic straws and plastic packaging. So I think that also the whole Europe is also going to be more eco-friendly. So also pay attention to that when selling products in the packaging. And I would definitely, in 2021, be listing on more marketplaces and selling to new regions. And what's very interesting is video ads when it comes to like translations and language, because like video ads are very highly converting ads, and they are very clickable. They take a lot of surface and people want to click on them, but they will not be shown if you don't translate them to the language of the target market. So let's say if you leave like the subtitles or like text on it in English, it would not be shown in Germany. So pay attention to that. And I like to say to diversify and do not put all eggs in one basket. So when we're talking about European marketplaces, of course, as Anna already mentioned, Germany is, I like to call it a 5-star marketplace. It's the biggest marketplace in Europe. And what's really cool about it is that all other countries that don't have their own Amazon marketplace, all the consumers get redirected and you have to buy from German Amazon, which was also, for instance, where Swedish consumers were buying from until they got Amazon Sweden. So Germany is like a 5-star marketplace. And then we have UK, which is now after Brexit, like a lot of things have changed. Also, one of the very important things that I have to mention are the regulations that were already there, but they were not pursued by Amazon that much. And that is the regulations when it comes to packaging. Now you have to translate the packaging to every country that you want to sell your products in. So you cannot ship the product that's going to have like English packaging in Germany. Earlier, I was also stressing this because I think it's very important for the packaging to be translated, let's say, in German, because not all Germans speak German. And especially if you're selling beauty products or some products that have important ingredients, you really want your consumers to understand what they're buying, because people will not buy what they don't understand. France has been where it was. I know that last year they had some ban where they didn't want, they did ban like Amazon sending products to consumers in order to protect the small brick and mortars, but like that ban has been raised. So France has been like where it was like till this day. Nothing new happened there. Spain and Italy have been like on the rise, and that was really great to see as people were also expanding to those marketplaces now more than ever. And the Netherlands has been introduced at the beginning of 2020, but the PPC hasn't enrolled until late 2020 in December. And then a lot of sellers were very, very unhappy with the results. They didn't get a lot of sales. They didn't get the results they wanted, and a lot of them just decided not to expand to the Netherlands. But then, as soon as the Netherlands PPC, like the Dutch PPC was enrolled, people started getting results, and now Amazon.nl is the biggest marketplace. It surpassed Bol, which was the biggest marketplace in the Netherlands. So I think that this year people might see better results, but I know that a lot of sellers just gave up on Amazon Netherlands and not investing in much in that specific marketplace. So what's very interesting is Amazon Sweden, which has been introduced also at the end of 2020. Unfortunately, it was introduced completely wrong. So what Amazon did is they basically Google translated the whole Amazon.sc website, and they even put an Argentinian flag instead of Swedish flag. So they did everything wrong. But I think that if if Amazon can offer really quick delivery times, it could be a really, really successful marketplace. We've seen a lot of interest in that. We get regularly, requests from clients, our returning clients, old clients that were not present at this marketplace, to translate their products and to localize them and do that as well. Sweden has this special e-commerce culture because of Nelly, because of H&M, because of a lot of other marketplaces that are already present over there. And really good really good categories are definitely beauty and health care products, kids products, also, as Anna mentioned, garden products. Of course, like something that has to do with furnishings as well, because it's all connected to IKEA, so people are aware of the buying online. And we are yet to see what's going to happen on Amazon Sweden. We've, as I said, we've had tons of requests, but nothing close to Amazon Poland. So right now, I would say the hottest marketplace in Europe is Amazon Poland, and it has grown so much. And we've had sellers that have thousands of products, really big brands, translate the whole catalogs into Polish. And I think that this is going to be very, very big hit. There are 12,000 online stores in Poland, and Allegro is a worldwide known marketplace. It's in top 10 worldwide marketplaces in the world, right after Shopee and Tmall. So Poland has already been in e-commerce, culture, and the e-commerce penetration is quite high in that country. And of course, I'm sure that a lot of you know about Zalando. For those of you who don't know it, that's the biggest marketplace basically in Germany after Amazon. And Zalando also and other retailers have expanded to Poland and Sweden last year. So basically, Amazon is kind of running late after all of these bigger marketplaces and retailers decided to do so. But they also definitely see very, very big in Poland and Sweden. Unfortunately, when it comes to keyword research, there are no tools for Sweden and Poland at this point, but I really hope that this is going to change in the next couple of months. So what you could actually just do is basically do a lot of manual research, like searching for the competitors, what they're doing, and doing the keyword planner. Unfortunately, that's all you can do right now. So what's next is probably Czech Republic. I'm pretty sure that you know that if you registered for a pan-European program a couple of years ago, you would have to register for VAT in Czech Republic and Poland. So this is basically the only marketplace that's left to be launched. And Czech Republic has had the biggest growth in e-commerce last year. It was 16%, and it surpassed absolutely all other European marketplaces. So this is something that you should look out for. It should be potentially very, very interesting in Europe as well. Talking about localization, why this is important, I like to give an example with Walmart and what happened to Walmart in Japan, which we can totally apply to your products and localization listings and everything. So Walmart basically is this US giant, and they just wanted to come to Japan, just thought because they are a big American retail giant that they're gonna expand without any problems. And they could not offer anything that Japanese consumers would love to have, such as locally produced food and fresh ingredients. And they basically also like to go on a scavenger hunt for discounts, and they want to have this shopping experience, to say so. Walmart could not offer anything. They didn't adjust to the marketplace at all, and basically they didn't do anything to win over Japanese audience, and that's why they had to pack their bags and go. Only a year after they opened tons of stores across Japan. But what happened with Costco is something completely different. So Costco is also this US giant, and what's very interesting for them is you have to go there and you have to buy in bulk, and you have tons of discounts, and there's this shopping culture of people who go to Costco and buy 15 bottles of champagne because you have to buy it in bulk. And this is something that was very interesting for Japanese people who have never seen this before, never experienced anything like it. So even though this is a typical, let's say a US thing, Japanese people really loved it because it gave them a really cool shopping experience for them. And Costco has been popular in Japan and is still till this day. So what does this have to do with your listing? Anna also mentioned US versus Germany. I also like to compare two marketplaces and two styles because they're the most different ones. US style is a little bit salesy, fluffy. They push you into buying your product. Whereas German style is more straightforward, show me the benefits of your product, don't push me into buying product. And I don't know if you knew this, but the German marketplace of all worldwide marketplaces gives out the most refunds. So if the consumer thought he bought one thing and he got another, they're going to return it. It'll have to refund it. This is something that we did for Payoneer service provider. So this was supposed to be exhibited in Germany at this conference. So the original text said, "Passion, we go beyond care." We had to change this to "we go beyond customer service," because care and customer service did not connect well together in Germany. You would connect like care, like a physical care, like in hospital, and it's really more like playing on emotion than like sounding professional. Also, the second example, humility, we go beyond assumptions. We have to change that to respect. We live up to what we promise our customers, like humility and humble service. Nobody wants to see this in Germany, and it doesn't sound professional. It doesn't sound that they could actually help you. When it comes to listings, this is my favorite example we did a couple of years ago. This was an espresso cup, where in the first bullet, you can see it says cool, cooler, coolest. So it's like this wordplay, a little bit using metaphors. And German's first bullet says elegant and stylish. So just showing the benefits, like being very clear, very straightforward with your product, showing how it solves the problems. Also, third bullet, own the enigma. Just like that old ship in a bottle your granny had, these mini glasses are sure to prove a talking point. And then German bullet says, thermal isolated glass. So no mention of your granny in your childhood, but like it won't burn your fingers because it's thermal isolated glass. Also, some of the words to avoid and to localize while doing this for the Germans is get it now. Don't push people into buying products. Don't go over the edge of like being super cute, pamper yourself. Like it's fine if you're selling kids products, but you really have to pay attention that you like don't reach over the limit. So you really have to be super careful when using words like these. Conveying the right message is definitely the most important thing, and this is what we all strive to do. And sometimes it's really difficult to convey the right message when you use like one brand to deliver it for another marketplace, and that's why you should not ever use Google Translate. Google Translate and other machine translations like DeepL are not humans, and they don't understand the message that your brand is supposed to send. So for instance, like if we have the example to the left, it says pasta like in Bella Italia with Carlos pasta attachments. If you're going to sell this product in Italy, you cannot write Bella Italia. Like Italians, when tell them like Bella Italia, they're like, I don't know what this means, right? So we changed that to fresh pasta come quella della nonna, like as your grandma makes it, which means that this is like Bella Italia, which means that this is fresh pasta, like a homemade pasta, and Italians will understand what sort of message you want to convey. There are also like a lot of things that you cannot translate as it is. Like the English word like hourglass translates as silhouette de rêve, like in French, because an hourglass figure, it can be translated like that, but it doesn't convey the same message. Also, like bringing new life to your trading, it wasn't translated like that because it would not have the same effect as varier vos entraînements, which means like to change your change your trainings, like give a different variation of your trading, for instance. And also I love this example. This is something we give to our translators when we test them. And this is the sentence says you don't need green fingers. Green fingers means that you can grow agriculture and like grow plants, and you're very successful with that. And in German, when you translate with green fingers, grüne Finger, it doesn't have any meaning. But when translated to grüne Daumen, which means green thumbs, it has the same meaning as you have in English with green fingers. So that's super important. When talking about keywords, Google Translate is definitely not your option, because with Google Translate, you can just get the meaning of the word, and that might not be true. That might be true. But when you type some of the keywords that you get translated on Google Translate in Amazon, you probably are not going to get the same product you're looking for. And even if you hire a native translator from Fiverr, I know a lot of you do that, those translators would not know anything about Amazon. They don't know why they're doing this. They don't know if they're creating a sales copy or what they're doing. So if you decide to hire somebody from Fiverr, you have to just tell them that whatever keyword they translate, they should put it in Amazon and see what products pops up, because in a lot of cases, the correct product will not pop up, and you'll be using that valuable time from your honeymoon periods to rank yourself for completely wrong keywords in your PPC campaigns. Also, very interesting thing, what we've noticed is that In French and Spanish, you have this de, like an article, which means of, and with, and other things like that. And basically, with the prepositions, a lot of you wouldn't use that because you would find that the keyword result doesn't have this de in the list, like a spatula cucina. But when you compare the results and you put a spatula de cucina and a spatula cucina, you're going to have absolutely the same results. So these words, and this will mean a lot, because this means that you would be able to use a keyword grammatically correct. And if you would not use it with this de, you would have to go to the back end because it's not grammatically correctly written. So if you're using the French language, these things which you can put between the keywords and not change their meaning and the search volume are de, a, and pour. And Spanish is de et pour. We've done this over like 3,000 listings. Like every month we test this, and this is what we got as a result. Also, very interesting for the German language, whenever you use a tool, for instance, it's going to have a word count as number 2, because usually long tail keyword consists of like 2 or more keywords, right? But for Dutch and for German language, like all the Germanic languages and now Swedish, this is not going to be applicable, because these languages have like these big chunky keywords that are put into one compound word. So basically, you can express a sentence in like a single word in German. But when you use any keyword research tools, the word count here is going to be set default by 2. And if we take an example of this Pinsel set, which is like 2 words, like 2, let's say give the 2 different separate words in long tail keyword list, this is what you're gonna get. But then if you go back and put word count as 1, you're gonna get tons of these compound words, which you're not gonna get in the previous research you made with the word count was set as 2 as default. And these are 31,000 search volumes. So when you compare it here to this list, you'll be missing out on top couple of keywords that are being top 10 keywords that your competitors might be ranked for, and you haven't used this opportunity. So whatever you're doing, just check for the German, Swedish, and Dutch keywords that you have word count as 1. This also works for like keyword planner or any other keyword tools like that. And I have a short bonus, and this is that, do you know that it's possible to change languages on your main images? Because a lot of people ask me about that, and that's why people don't translate it, because it all comes from the same database. And then when you put it all up, it's going to be English no matter what, or German on all other marketplaces. But here's a hack on how can you change the language. It costs some money, but the point is that you can make it you can make it work. You have to so this is like an example of a same listing. It's in French and it's in German, and it's different language on their main images. So how do you do this? You have to apply for the 360 program. And this is basically how you do it. So 360 marketing program of Amazon, and then your account manager will be able to change this for you in Seller Central. This costs money and it is expensive, but this is how your listing is going to stand out from all other listings. So 360 program on Amazon, look it up today. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. And if you would like to connect, my email is jana@wildtranslation.com. I'm open to any like consultations, calls, whatever. And if you guys want an audit of your listing that is maybe underperforming, or you're wondering what else you could do to make it better, feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to send you our free audit. So thank you so much for listening.
Amazing. That was one of the most informative PPTs I have seen in a while. So thorough. So it was perfect. So the listing part was it. I mean, I completely agree. And I think I need to emphasize more on how you can make your product more adaptive in a marketplace, because I loved how you mentioned the case studies. Because when I did my market research in my university, we studied how Nescafe or Nestle, I'm not sure, one of those, wanted to sell coffee in Japan, and they failed miserably because Japan they are tea drinkers. So that failed miserably.
Exactly.
And then they went back, did some market research, and then they realized that Japanese love eating sweets. So they incorporated coffee in sweets, and there you go. They ate it up. They're happy. Nescafe is happy, and that's how you make your product more adaptive in a marketplace. So thank you so
you
much.
have to. You definitely have to adjust. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, sorry. I just wanted to say you definitely need to adjust, and also that's one of the reasons why you don't have Starbucks in Australia, because Australian coffee culture is closer to Italian, and they don't drink tall black coffees. They drink
Right.
like espressos and stuff, and Starbucks could not just offer something like that, and they didn't adjust, and so they were also kicked out. So thank you for listening.
So, one more question that I have for you. When it comes to your listings, I understand that your reviews and questions that are on your listings also get indexed for keywords. So, as a seller, what should I keep in mind when I'm selling on different marketplaces? In terms of questions and reviews, do they be in the other languages as well when I'm answering them or something?
I mean, ideally, you should have your customer service like in German, of course, because as I said, like in Germany, a lot of people do not speak good English, and especially if
Right.
they have questions about your product, maybe it's a complex product, maybe it's like, especially like supplements and other stuff, and beauty products and creams and serums for your face. They will have some questions, and they want them to be 100% sure that they understand them. So I would definitely recommend that you have like everything in the target language, because this is something that's going to give you results. We have some other case studies from clients that did like packaging in English and then in German, and then they had like different results and better reviews because it was more clear to the clients what they were buying. It didn't have any additional questions to that because they were absolutely clear about how to use it, and other things like ingredients and other things they might be confused with.
Amazing. So, yes, thank you so much for being here, Yana. It's time for Yael to
Thank
speak.
you.
So, thank you, and I will bring you back after some time when it's time for you to answer some questions. Okay, so when we start selling in different marketplaces, you need to be protected. And one way to do that is patents. Another thing you can do is trademarks. So, in our first session, we spoke about how it's so much easier to start selling on Amazon in terms of patents because you can dispute a patent and get reviewed in 2 hours and you'll be done. But if you are selling in brick and mortar or not on Amazon, you know that patent disputes are really expensive and they can take months together. So it's time for me to introduce Yael, who will be talking about trademark protection, and she will be also covering patents as well, which is really important for EU and UK. So let me just bring her up on the stage right now. Hi, Yael.
Hi, hi again. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's get
So,
started with your presentation.
okay, perfect. Just a second.
So I remember you telling me, like when we were discussing USA in day one, you told me that EU and UK are a bit more complicated and USA is simpler. So I'm just really excited to see what's different about it, and let's get started. I see your screen
Okay, perfect.
and you're on.
So as I said, I'm a co-founder of the law firm where we help sellers with intellectual property issues, but also with any e-commerce issue, if it's suspension, contracts related to e-commerce, contracts relating to selling the business, anything around e-commerce and IP. We don't do any other legal things that are not related to IP, and e-commerce. Don't come to us for real estate or family law, things like that. In addition to Fortinet, I'm to the law firm. I'm also co-founder of Fortinet, which is an investment banking firm that helps sellers selling the business. So very busy on the exit part as well. When I think of European marketplaces, I always at the firm we talk about the complications of Europe, and if you look at the different stages of selling on Amazon, and you compare the US to Europe, so there are some things that are easier, but the great majority is a little bit more complex in Europe. So on the one hand, as I said earlier, that's a headache, right? I mean, we don't want complications in our life, and as an Amazon seller we have enough complications anyway. But on the other hand, once you're overcoming this obstacle, then you're in and they're out. So any obstacle, remember, it means less sellers, and less competition, more for you. And I saw the first question on the chat now. I think it was Jesse who asked, I'm in the toys department. I'm selling in the US. Do you think I'll succeed? And toys is the very good example that should succeed in Europe. Germany, Spain, France. I mean, these are, and the UK, of course, these are markets where these toys are sold very fast, and sometimes toys can go beyond the sales in Europe can go beyond the sales in the US. So so the answer to Jesse is absolutely yes, 100% go for Europe. Now, what are those complications? I'll try to go quickly because we don't have much time, but the complications as we see them, so one of them is suspensions. When you're suspended in the US and you're suspended in Europe, it's just more difficult to get back on track in Europe. So, for example, somebody is suspended for inauthentic products. It usually takes more time and more rounds to get back on track for that. Another complication is just opening a new account. I don't know how many of you went through the process in Europe already, but they ask for a lot of things. They ask for utility bill, business license, bank statement, passport. These are things that are sometimes asked in the US as well, but in Europe it happens all the time. When you're we have a lot of clients with for example, an Israeli company, and then Amazon asks for a memorandum of association for their company that doesn't even exist in Israel, and they're and you explain to them, but that doesn't exist, and they ask for it again and again and again. So people opening an account, sometimes it can take 3 months. But remember, once you're in, they're out. So, you went through that, and it's worth it in most cases. I always think, when you're asking yourself when to start a new market, I think you should ask yourself, where are you right now in your business, and can you deal with it? Because if you're overwhelmed with the US and you just started and you have a lot of SKUs to launch and you're busy with tons of things at the same time, adding 5 new marketplaces and really going into it may be difficult for you. But if you're into it for a year or two and and things are stable, it's a good time to expand it. The good thing about it is, as Anna said, and Jana as well, is the reviews. I mean, you have your listing in the US, it already has 1,000 reviews. You just started in Europe and you get those reviews and those sales. So so it absolutely makes sense if you have the bandwidth, if you can handle it, go for it, and fight it. So there's so there's opening a new account that's a bit more complicated than the US. And then there's the yearly verification, like every once in a while. I don't remember if it's a year or two, but every once in a while they go back and they ask again for the document again and again. So every year they're making sure you're still there, you still have your documents, and everything's okay. Another thing that's different in Europe, and that's maybe more on the exit side, when you transfer ownership in an account, while in the US it's super easy, it takes up to a week to change all the details. In Europe, it's hell. So it's not in Europe. We don't transfer the ownership in the account. We just transfer the listings from the seller to the buyer. We don't change ownership in the account. It's just practically impossible. It takes months, and sometimes it gets them suspended. So don't touch anything in your European account once it's up. So that these are the complications, and then there's the VAT. I think that many people are afraid of the VAT issue. Should I pay? Where should I pay? When do I pay? Does it matter where my inventory is? And it does. And so there are people who are specializing in that. So you just need a professional telling you exactly what to do, where to pay, based on where you sell and and where you are right now. I wouldn't take any decisions before I speak with one of those professionals. There's, for example, Avask that's doing that. A lot of people working with them, and I'm sure that Jana and Anna can recommend others. Basically, I mean, what you have to remember is that if you have to pay tax and you didn't, if you have to pay VAT and you didn't collect it, what happened is that you will have to pay the tax that you should have collected from the customers. So if you did collect tax, you would just add it when they pay. It would just add, let's say, 5 or 10% or 15% taxes to the product, and usually they just proceed. So it's on top of the price of your product. If you didn't pay, they'll go back to you, and you will have to pay those 5 to 15% from you. And I've had clients with debt of 20K, 50K, and even more than that. So make sure you know what you're doing, and don't forget about that. There can be a penalty. Usually it's a financial penalty. So I also ranges between 5 and 15%, depending on the on the country, depending on the time you haven't paid. So but remember, it's just not worth it. The worst part, if you don't pay it, is a suspension. So so for some of the marketplaces, we've seen suspensions of accounts that were already selling well. So don't forget this part, and make sure you're in touch with a professional. So that was about the kind of complications, which can deter some of the people. But remember, if it deters you, it deters others, and so it's an advantage. Let's talk about trademark for a while. So trademark, most of trademark protects a brand, right? You have your private label on Amazon. You want to protect it so that your listing will be protected. If I'm a hijacker, I can just jump on your listing if you don't have a trademark. So in Europe, until recently, we'd file one trademark and it would cover the entire Europe. Anybody who's done that in the past, if you had one European trademark, it covered the UK as well. And what's going to happen is that, due to Brexit, the UK is just going to be, you're going to get an automatic registration in the UK. So you'll have a European registration and a UK registration. And you don't have to do anything on your brand registry. If you're already in the brand registry, your European registration will become Europe and UK. You're going to have both on your brand registry. If you don't want to have both, for some reason I ignore, then go ahead to your brand registry and inform Amazon you don't want this UK trademark. But otherwise, you don't have to do anything. If you're filing now a trademark, so you need one for the UK, for the UK, and one for the rest of Europe. Again, there's one registration covering all the members of the European community, so it makes sense to file it together. It's not very expensive. A few things you have to remember when dealing with trademarks, very important. I always try to say it, whether it's in Europe or the US. So first of all, trademark rights arise when you start selling, when you start using your trademark. So if I invented the mark Philips, and I started using it for a while, but I didn't register, and then someone else comes in and goes ahead and registers the trademark Philips, I can file a cancellation because I was there first. I can cancel their trademark. So when you're choosing a name, two things to remember. One, do a Google search. Make sure that there's nobody already using this trademark in the UK or in Europe. And second, make sure that it's not registered. There's nobody else with that name. If it's taken, it means you won't have a trademark. If you don't have a trademark, you don't have the brand registry. Anybody can jump on your listing. Nobody will buy your account in the future if you want to sell the business. So you'll be in a very bad position, and you cannot change your listing you cannot change the brand on your listing later. So it's not like you can try, oh, I didn't get the trademark, let's move to something else completely. It's extremely difficult to get Amazon to change your brand. And even if you manage to do that, since it's against the terms of service, Amazon can suspend or close this listing in the future. We've actually had a case where we were in the middle of a transaction, of a seller selling the business, and in the middle of the transaction, the entire account gets suspended just because it changed the brand on some of the listings. So bottom line, before when you choose the name, before you manufacture, before you put it on the listing, before you do anything, do two searches. One on Google and two, on the European Trademark Office, you can run a basic search yourself, or just ask your lawyer to run the search. It's usually more professional, and it usually doesn't cost more than than the registration. It's usually included in the price. So remember to do that to avoid huge problems in the future. Moving on to copyrights. So here it's actually the same as the US. Just as the US, where you have rights in any graphic designs or photos or text, the moment you created them. Same in Europe. So if I created this tiger paper plate, I actually own the copyrights without any registration. Okay, so even without a registration, I own the copyright. So if somebody comes in and tries to use my design, I can stop that person, and I can file a complaint within a second. We'll talk about how to file those complaints later. A thing to remember for copyrights: do not copy anybody else's images or text or photos or graphic designs, because they're protected. Whoever designed it, it's there. If I designed this dog here, you cannot use the same dog. You can use the idea of a dog on a scarf, or even husky Siberian on the dog on the scarf, but not this particular one. So don't copy design, and don't copy text. We're seeing, especially in Europe, we're seeing people suspended for just one sentence they used from somebody else's listing, and then and they're removed. So be careful not to use other people's text or photos or graphic design. So I'll move quickly to filing complaints. As in the US, in the UK, and in Europe in generally, you can file complaints using the brand registry. So you will have your brand registry for Europe. You need to choose the specific ASIN, and then file the complaint. Make sure here, if you want to remove hijackers from your listing, you're going to type here your listing, right? I mean, you're going to put your ASIN, and then if you do not choose specific sellers and you remove it, you will remove yourself. So be careful, and that's a very common mistake. Put your ASIN number here, and then choose here specific sellers, and then you click on the ones you want to remove, everybody except yourself, and then you file it, and Amazon will remove those hijackers sitting on your listings. So very easy in Europe to do that, same as the US. I'll finish with patent laws. Patents. So what's interesting there are two types of patents, right? I mean, there's design patents, which covers the shape of a product, like you see here, this bottle. Okay, that's a design patent. And there are patents, the regular utility patents that you and I know, that kind of protect the technology. What's interesting to know in Europe, and many people don't know, and I don't know if I should tell you, but the European Patent Office doesn't check if this product already existed. Although they should, they don't do that. And what happens is that a lot of products are just registered, and their design patent gets registered in Europe while it already existed for years. In the US, it would never happen. In the US, examiners look at they do a search, they try to see if there's what we call a prior art, prior publication, and then they'll deny it. In Europe, everything is registered. So we had a case with a spinner, where everybody was already selling the spinner for like a year, and unfortunately, it was there was one seller who got this registration and removed everybody in the market. So it's a bit ridiculous, but at least you as as a patent owner, if you file it correctly, don't file it after it was published. File it before you publish your design, and you can get the protection within 3 weeks. If you're using other people's design, make sure you conduct a search to avoid an infringement. Okay, so if you're using this bottle of Camelback, for example, go on Google Patent and search for the patents of Camelback to see what they have, so that you can avoid infringement. So that's in a nutshell about the legalities of Europe in 10 minutes. I'm happy to discuss it with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Yael. And I highly suggest people to reach out to her if you have any patent struggles. I'm disheartened by the patent filing process in Europe. So I can only imagine how confusing and how time consuming it must be to, get wiped off the market because they file so many multiple patents. So that was really interesting to learn. So yes, thank you so much, Yael. We are coming to the end of the session. Let's take up some questions. So I'm gonna put you all in the studio and introduce you all again. So thank you for being here, Yael.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's begin with Anna. So if you have any questions related to products, and if you have any questions related to PPC, hit Anna with the questions. Hi, Anna. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Then we have Jana. So Jana will cover all the listing questions. If you have any listing related questions, or if you have any general questions related to the marketplace, you can shoot them at us as well. And then, of course, we have Yael. Thank you so much for being here, Yael. And she will answer all your trademarking questions, which I see that we have some of them. So, yeah, let's get on with the questions. So, the first question is for Anna. It says, Hi, Anna. Hi, Nancy. Thank you for being here. I sell on Amazon FBA US. I'm planning to expand to EU marketplaces, majorly in Germany. Can you suggest important things that I should keep in mind in terms of PPC and packaging? So I think Nancy wants to know what's available in terms of PPC, which is not available in Germany yet, and some packaging advices that you can give.
So as regards to PPC, you'll see that there's everything available similar to the US. As I said earlier, I would focus on sponsored products. I think we are focusing a lot more on brands, but I think the US is advanced in that, which I think is evident with the whole Amazon.com live that they've now introduced with influencers. So focus on sponsored product advertising. Unless you've got several different products and you are Amazon brand registered, and then you may want to do the brand advertising. I think the main thing to bear in mind is getting those keywords right and making sure that you get the translations right, which I know, Jana, you did a really good job on talking through some of that. So make sure you get professional, like YLT translations to help you do it. As regards to packaging, though, you've just got to make sure that if you've got, especially you've got electrical items, you've got that CE conformity, the badge that your products are going to conform to, and actually your suppliers will be able to guide you in that. One of the tips that I do, if I'm going into a new marketplace and I'm like doing the research of what's required in the EU, is I actually just Google packaging for, say, hairdryer, and basically have a look at other packaging that's available, so I can make sure that I've covered myself.
Amazing. Thank you so much for answering that, Anna. And I hope that answers your question, Nancy. Let us know in the comment section below if it did. So thank you for answering the question. So the next question is, thank you for being here, Matthew, to begin with. People are told to look for products with a BSR of 500 to 2000. How to go about BSR for products in other marketplaces like Germany? So who wants to take up this question?
I don't mind taking it. I was going to say, make sure that you do each country separate, because I know I often get asked like what BSR to go for in EU, and I know you specifically said Germany. You want to have a look, because what's happening in Germany versus Spain could be completely different. It tends to be less, but it also depends on what category as well. So have a look at the whole of the category. I would probably base it on anything under 2000 initially. And then just be having a look to see how competitive it is, because it isn't just on BSR when you're doing your research. So I think under 2000 is a good guidance. You might have to go under 1000. I used to, a few years ago, say go half to what you're doing in the US, but as we know, this last 12 months, things have been increasing quite quickly. So You've got to look at it all, but keep each marketplace separately.
Amazing. Yeah, that's very helpful advice, actually. I'm going to use that as well. So thank you so much, Anna. So the next question was for Yana, but I see that she's already answered it in the chat. So thank you so much for answering that question, Yana. So let me just bring that up for people who might have similar questions. So I sell toys on Amazon. Jesse, hi, welcome back. Do you think it's possible to get success in European FBM? To which Yana replied, and Yale also replied, saying that it is a great marketplace for toys and kids product overall, and we have tons of success with our clients. It's surprising to see how some sellers have more sales in EU and UK compared to US. That's just, it's like positivity finally when it comes to 2020 and 2021 with the whole pandemic situation. So thank you for answering that question. So the next question is for Yale. It says that I am in a seller on Amazon Canada. Welcome, William. So I want to get a trademark in the UK. How long would that process take? So I think we've already established that you need different trademarks for UK and EU. But how long does the process take,
The
Yale?
entire process takes about a year in most countries of the world. I mean, you should take, sometimes it's a little less. Actually, in the UK, it's shorter. It can be 5 months. But generally speaking, wherever you go, I would take up to a year. UK is 5 months.
Amazing. So yeah, if you are planning to start selling in UK, this is the perfect time for you to contact Yale and get your legal process trademark protection stuff started. So the last question for the day, I think, is also for Yale. So hi Anthony, welcome back. I have applied for my trademark recently. How long after filing a trademark can I apply for Amazon brand registry?
So, until recently, you would have to, if you're not on the accelerator, you had to wait until the end of the registration, which is 8 months. And then if you're through the accelerator, you can do it within 2 weeks. About a month or 2 months ago, Amazon changed the rules actually, and anybody filing a trademark through any lawyer can just file for the brand registry within about a week from filing. I would take sometimes it's a little less, but take about a week from filing. Usually these are approved, any trademark registration through any attorney.
Oh, nice. Okay, so thank you so much for answering that, Yale. And I'm getting messages on my Slack group saying that everyone's so shocked that they do not check patents in Europe before filing them. And thank you for telling us that, Yale. I think you have created some, what is it called, buzz around it,
Yeah,
especially in my group right now.
don't
Everyone's just
Thank
confuse
talking
you.
it,
about.
don't confuse it.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I appreciate your time, and I have personally learned so much. So, for those of you watching right now, I would like to thank all of you for your time as well. Thank you for being a part of Go Global 2021. We will be back next year with Go Global 2022. So, I hope all my ladies come back next year as well and enlighten people to talk about and to start selling in different marketplaces with more updates. So, this was super fun to do. Make sure that you're registered for the event to get exclusive goodie bags by the end of the session. We have Regina coming tomorrow. She will be talking about Amazon Australia. So she was one of the first person who did testing for Amazon Australia as well. So it's going to be super, super fun. And I would like to thank all of you for being here as well. And do not forget to subscribe to our channel, guys. We're close to 10K subscribers. Woohoo! So do not forget to subscribe to our channel. And thank you so much for you all to be here and talk and take your time to talk about Amazon EU and UK. So thank you and bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much.